Revisiting step one. How in the world could one re-enroll? Well, you cannot. So as we now contemplate step number one and try to look for the corrective behavior, we can't really correct an enrollment. We enrolled. Can't really do it wrong. And so now what we do is contemplate the why. I referenced in the Getting Started material that others, my peers in the industry, often spend much more time at the very outset identifying the why. I find the most constructive time to really visit this thought of why when we reach a moment of impasse. If you've reached a moment of impasse, then I invite you at step number one in Staying Started to reconsider why it is that you choose to be involved in this business. Think back to the way that your job, your career experience was that led you to the point of saying, I want to do something different. I think back to when I was a stockbroker. At my darkest moments in this industry as I was beginning, and I promise you this, my life experience was not easy in this business from the first hour. When I'd been at it for about 7 months, I felt like I had accomplished absolutely nothing. I felt like I was just turning and turning and turning my wheels. It seemed like others were racing to success ahead of me and that I was stuck in the mud. I felt like I had slowly drying concrete all around my feet, and it wasn't easy for me. And at that point, I had to reflect upon why did I get involved in the business. I didn't like being a stockbroker, and I knew that being a stockbroker hadn't changed. I knew that it was the same things that I found uncomfortable, the things that I did not enjoy, they would still have been true if I re-engaged in that process. So that was it for me. It was very simple. For many of you, you may want to contemplate other possibilities. I've heard it said that one must have a why so big to make you cry. Well, I didn't. I was totally unemotional about it. I just didn't want to be a stockbroker anymore. And when after 7 months I found myself at a point of complete impasse, I then reflect, well, what would I do? What do I know how to do? If I don't continue on this path, what path awaits me? And it was the path back in the door of a major brokerage firm, and I didn't want to get on that path. And so that simple revisiting of my why was enough. But now I guess I will share with you a deeper why. While I didn't articulate it at the outset, there was something beneath that why that I didn't describe yet. And it goes beyond not wanting to be a stockbroker. Why is it that I do the things that I do and have done for so many years to have financial success? It's rooted much more deeply in me than I don't want to be a stockbroker. My real why is that I grew up in a place of not enough. That's where I was raised. I was raised in a place of not enough. I want a new pair of sneakers, Mom. How much do they cost? I want to go to the movie, Mom. How much does it cost? I want to go to the fair, Mom. How much does it cost? I want to ride the rides at the fair, Mom. How much does it cost? No matter the question, the response was always the same. How much does it cost? And I learned to hate that phrase. That was why I became a stockbroker, because I did not want to ever again ask the question of how much does it cost. I promised myself that I would get past the point of how much does it cost. And you know, for me, it actually became deeper than that. I came from a place of not enough, and I made a very, very faulty transition. I grew not enough to there's not enough into I'm not enough. And it took me so many years of personal growth and development to get past that. Well, in trying to soothe that pain, I initially became a stockbroker because that's where I could make enough money. Having found a way to make enough money to satisfy my needs, I then found myself at a point of complete dissatisfaction with the way that I was doing it. And so the surface why, my surface why, was I didn't want to be a stockbroker. But beneath that surface why, I don't want to ask how much it costs. When my children make a request of me, I want my response to be not based on whether or not I can afford it, but whether or not I think it's good for them. I don't want to make my vacation choices based on how much it costs. I don't want the choice of my residence to be predicated on how much it costs. I don't want the cars that I drive to be based on how much it costs. I don't want my charitable giving to be based upon some scarce situation that I find myself in. I want abundance. I want to be more happy more of the time. I have found that I can be more happy more of the time when I don't have to ask how much it costs. Now, the truth is that after years and years and years of personal growth and development, I have become convinced today that I could be happy without financial resources. I'm glad I don't have to know that right now. I'm hoping that God doesn't impose that upon me. Having both had not enough and now having an abundance is better. I've just described to you my why. What is your task? What is your task here in step one of Staying Started? If you have arrived at a point of impasse, you've slammed into the wall or the ceiling, reflect upon why. Why did you decide to do this in the first place? And then put pen to paper. Articulate it, write it down. Write it down. Look at it. Did that why change? The fact that you've run into the wall, did that change the why? Is that reason not still there, as big as ever? Is it maybe even bigger now than before? And does that why then give you that magic ingredient that separates those who really succeed from those who do not? And what is that magic ingredient? Willingness. What I've discovered is that my why was in fact big enough to create in me the willingness to identify what I was doing incorrectly or infrequently enough such that I was not accomplishing my goals. You see, there are people who are accomplishing exactly what you want in this business. There are people with life experiences similar to yours who are accomplishing what you want in this business. In my own case, a reevaluation, a recalibration of that why showed me that I must become willing to do things that I had not been willing to do up until that point, such that I could successfully get the key in the lock to success. What is your why? Write it down. Consider it. Evaluate it. That's step one in staying started.